Hello and welcome to the Abuse and Neglect Prevention, Critical Incident, and Human Rights Annual Recertification Training. This is Module 4 that will discuss preventing abuse and neglect. Please be prepared to adjust the volume on your computer to listen to this training. To enable closed captioning, press the CC button on the bottom left or right of your video display screen. This learning path contains multiple components in the form of videos and quizzes. To be marked complete for this training, you must complete all modules and pass all quizzes in addition to completing the final attestation form and mandatory reporter sign-off. Training objectives. Learners will review why people may commit abuse or neglect, understand ways to prevent abuse or neglect from taking place, and understand the role of a mandatory reporter and the expectations in their position with DDS or a DDS qualified provider. Before we begin, a reminder that you are a mandatory reporter. This is a requirement of your job at DDS and for every person providing supports to individuals funded by the department. Regardless of your title, you are a mandatory reporter. That means reporting abuse or neglect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not just when you're at work. It also means you do not have to have proof. You may be a witness, you saw it or heard it. Even if you suspect it, you should report it. And if you hear about it from someone else, you must report it. It is not an option to report suspected abuse or neglect. As a mandatory reporter, your failure to report suspected abuse or neglect can be reported as neglect itself and may lead to progressive disciplinary action. Any and all types of discipline may be considered depending on the severity of the abuse or neglect that was not reported. To elaborate on the Connecticut General Statute 46A 11B, allegations should not be called in just because a supervisor tells an employee to do so or as means of covering one's own best interest. There must be reasonable cause to suspect abuse or neglect on the part of the reporter. The reporter should be prepared to explain their reasonable cause to AID, Central Intake, or any other agency as necessary as to why they think there was abuse or neglect. Reasonable cause is not to discourage people from calling if they suspect abuse or neglect is taking place. If you witness or suspect abuse or neglect, first you must stop it. Then you intervene and protect the victim. Then you obtain any necessary medical treatment. You support the victim. And last but not least, you report it. Just as important as learning about different types of abuse and neglect, critical incidents, and reporting process in the previous modules, understanding how to prevent abuse and neglect is equally as important. Why do people commit abuse or neglect? Take a moment to think about why you think people might commit abuse or neglect. There are many unfortunate reasons why this may happen. We will review a few of these in the upcoming slides. First is personal values and or cultural differences. Next is someone may be impatient or controlling. Fatigue and stress is a big one as well. With that being said, staff should not reject their mandatory overtime. However, managers and supervisors should be aware of this and as scheduling staff for shifts to ensure their proper care of the individuals that are being supported. Inability to de-escalate a situation may also lead to abuse or neglect, along with the inability or refusal to follow behavior support plans for the individual in their care. Lack of interest, commitment, or motivation is a big one as well. Being on your cell phones, not paying attention, or being uninterested in the work at hand and the care you are providing to the individual supported by the department may also lead to abusive or neglectful behavior. We also have failure to identify a risky situation And being disrespectful towards individuals and coworkers may also be a reason that someone commits abuse or neglect. Lastly, poor judgment and carelessness can directly lead to abuse or neglect. With that being said, take a minute to think about what you can do to prevent abuse or neglect from happening. Here are some reminders for staying present and keenly aware of treating the individuals you support in a professional manner that reflects our agency's values. We need to practice common courtesy and treat individuals with respect. Honor choices for how a person wants to live and know their plan. We assist people to identify their strengths and get to know the person. Teach people to do as much for themselves as possible. Support the development of relationships with others. Support people to be active members of their community. You may know that the individual is looking for connections based on their interest, games, sports, spirituality, work, voting, or politics, personal relationships, or hobbies. Talk to their team about this so they can get involved in their community and to ensure DDS is supporting their best quality of life. Use respectful language and be careful with the word no. Use it only when necessary in a polite and compassionate way, ensuring that you give the individual as much choice and control as you can. The Human Rights Committee, also known as HRC, is an important committee within DDS that helps to ensure the rights of all individuals are respected and valued. The Human Rights Committee is divided by region and they review human rights issues raised by or on behalf of the individual that DDS supports. Some examples of situations that HRC may review are having certain areas of your home locked off, video monitors in your home, someone coming into your bedroom multiple times during the night, restrictions on how much time you could watch TV or use the internet, or someone reading your mail or email, someone deciding where and how you can spend your money, people deciding for you when you could have a snack and locking the fridge the rest of the time, someone searching your bedroom, or someone doing body searches on you. Some of these examples may be in place for an individual's plan for health and safety reasons determined by their team. However, if one of these examples occurs that is not in an individual's plan, the HRC will review these issues to ensure the individuals supported by the department have rights, respect, and dignity that they deserve. The HRC has an important role to play when it comes to ensuring the individuals that we support at DDS have access to the same rights that you and I do. As we wrap up, remember that you are a mandatory reporter 24/7, not just when you're at work. This is a requirement of your job at DDS and for every person providing supports to individuals funded by the department. Regardless of your title, you are a mandatory reporter. That means reporting abuse or neglect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not just when you're at work. It also means you don't have to have proof. You may be a witness. You saw it or heard it. Even if you suspect it, you should report it. And if you hear about it from someone else, you must report it. It's not an option to report suspected abuse or neglect. As a mandatory reporter, your failure to report suspected abuse or neglect can be reported as neglect itself and may lead to progressive discipline. Any and all types of discipline may be considered depending on the severity of the abuse or neglect that was not reported. To elaborate on the Connecticut General Statute 46A 11B, allegations should not be called in just because a supervisor tells an employee to do so or as means of covering one's own best interest. There must be reasonable cause to suspect abuse or neglect on the part of the reporter. The reporter should be prepared to explain their reasonable cause to AID Central Intake and any other agencies as necessary as to why they think there was abuse or neglect. It is now time to take your Module 4 quiz. You must receive 100% on this quiz in order to move on to the Module 5 of this training. If you have any questions, please contact the training division at DDS or a training representative at your agency for additional information. This training is property of the Connecticut Department of Developmental Services and should be used for training purposes only. This material should not be sold or used for profit. Thank you for your time today. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact dds.training@ct.gov.